Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn, live Lunch and Learn here on the Her Retirement YouTube channel. I am Lynn Toomey, and I am going live every Thursday at 12:15 for a Lunch and Learn. I've got my money shirt on because we are celebrating financial literacy in the month of April. And yeah, I want money to not be such a big worry for as many women as possible. That is the whole point of my platform, Her Retirement. And I want to spread as much financial knowledge to women as possible through the Her Retirement platform. Now, I also just launched a second platform. It's called Retirement Solved, and you can go check that out at retirementsolved.io. Again, retirementsolved.io. That platform is not specific to women because, we all need, regardless of gender, we all need financial literacy, retirement literacy. We all want to or should know more, to have more, to live more. So that is my tagline, if you will. My philosophy is that when you know more, you can have more and you can live more. And that's the first thing you'll see when you go to both sites, the herretirement.com website and the retirementsolved.io website. But my platforms, I call them platforms because they're more than just informational websites. Of course, there's tons of free retirement and money resources on both sites. But in addition to that, it's a launching pad for you to launch into the retirement readiness process that everyone should undertake. You should start preparing for retirement as soon as you get your first job, and that continues throughout your life. And throughout your life, you should become financially literate. You should be aware of the basics of financial concepts. You should become aware of the basics of retirement planning. So many people don't even understand the power of something as simple as compound interest. So if you're not familiar with the effects of compound interest, it is a very powerful, basically tool to help you multiply your money. And it's based on the fact that it's the longer you invest or save your money, it's going to compound and compound. And one of the magic parts of compound interest is time. So that's why I say to people, start as early as possible. And if you feel like, oh, it's too late for me, well, spread the word to someone younger. You can help educate and empower younger men and women about the concepts of financial literacy, about things like compound interest, the things that you learn. Do your part to improve the financial literacy and the wealth of younger generations. So one of the things that I found really powerful is that your learning increases when you teach. So if you learn something, go teach it to someone else, and it becomes that much more powerful to you, both from a recall perspective. So if you hear something and you repeat it and you teach it to somebody else, it's going to really, really sink in. And it also, by teaching, impacts your behavior. So I always encourage people that when they learn something like a financial topic, go out, share it, and quote, teach it to someone else, and it will impact your behavior as well. So those are a couple things to start off today's live broadcast. To go check out the herretirement.com website, because there's a ton of free resources as well as some affordable courses, e-classes. I have a free masterclass that once you take the free masterclass and learn some basic introductory ideas on retirement planning, both from a financial and non-financial perspective, you can then go and take my paid master course, which is 9 modules. You can take at your own pace. Tons of information and details on some little known retirement planning strategies. So you can go check that out on the herretirement.com website. I have obviously this live YouTube that I do. I have a YouTube channel with lots of recordings. I have a TikTok account where I have about 95,000 followers now, and those are just like 1 and 2 minute videos. So if this attention span economy, if you want to just get bite-sized information and improve your financial literacy, you can do that on the TikTok channel. Or, you can go listen to my podcast, which I post every other week on health, wealth, and happiness topics geared toward women over the age of 50. And you can learn a lot from listening to that podcast. So when you go out for your walk every other week, you can go listen to my podcast. I have, 118 episodes, I think, at this point. So yeah, I share a ton, but I'm excited because April is Financial Literacy Month, and my platforms are all about being financially and retirement smart. Because, like I said, when you know more, I believe you can have more. So I wanted to start today off talking a little bit about where do you start? So one of the things that I suggest people do is that they do what's called a financial checkup. And in the process of doing that financial checkup, you're going to have to go off and learn some things, not only about your personal financial situation, but learn some things that you might not have known about, such as your net worth, such as cash flow. Those are concepts that you will learn about if you're not familiar with them in the financial checkup process. Now, I offer a webinar that's a financial checkup. I think it's about an hour long, but it takes you through a number of steps to do a financial checkup. And you can do a financial checkup at any time throughout the year. A lot of people think, oh, I should just do it in January. No, you can do a checkup, if you will, once a year, but you could do a financial check-in more often if you want to do it monthly, quarterly, biannually. It's really up to you. But that financial checkup system I teach, and I go take you through. There's a workbook that goes along with it to make you really have visibility into your financial situation and improve your financial literacy. So if you want to check that out, you can shoot me an email at lynnt@herretirement.com, or you can go check for it on the courses at the herretirement.com website, where you can access it there also. But I wanted to give you a sneak preview of a couple of the exercises that we do in that financial checkup workshop. One is financial goal setting. And this is where you set, keep track, and hopefully the idea is to achieve your financial goals faster. And this financial goal setting workshop is really designed to help you identify your short, medium, and long-term goals. So what you would do on this worksheet is, and you would get access to this as part of the financial checkup workshop, is you identify this month's goals, your 1-year goals, your 5-year goals, and your 10-year goals. So if you don't really think about what you want in your future, it's really hard for you to achieve it. So a real good starting point is to really think about what are those financial goals you want to achieve. And then to achieve them, if you need additional knowledge or education or guidance around those, then you go seek it out. Buy a book, take one of my classes or some of the other classes online. You can go on YouTube, Pinterest, wherever it might be. Seek out some reliable knowledge to improve your financial literacy. Or if you want to connect up with a certified financial planner or a retirement advisor, there's those people out there. And in fact, I have a network of experts, so I can connect you also. It's one of the things that I provide people through my platforms, is connecting you to those people. So these are vetted people I trust, that I've talked to, and I wouldn't be recommending them if I didn't believe in what they were doing. So doing your financial goal setting and using a worksheet and to write it down. I believe that when you write things down, you're more likely to achieve them. So take some time to really identify your financial goals. Now, you don't have to take the complete financial checkup workshop if you don't want to invest that time in yourself, but you can, and that's one of the exercises. And that will obviously improve your financial situation and lead you to improving your financial literacy. Now, the next thing that I wanted to share with you from this financial checkup workshop that I offer is crafting your statement of financial purpose, because I think it's so important as we are planning our financial present and future, is to really use money as a tool to achieve our purpose, to achieve our objectives, to achieve our goals. But I think crafting your statement of financial purpose is all about starting with a list of values, because how we spend, save, invest, give, and leave our money on to other people is really based on our values. So I think it's really important to start there. So in the financial workshop that I offer, the financial checkup workshop, we start with identifying your values. And I also go through an exercise like this when I coach women on defining their next chapter. If they are planning to leave their corporate job and they're going to retire, what are they going to do next in their life? Are they going to fully retire, semi-retire, never retire? But these decisions have to be based on your values and your priorities. So we go through this exercise and we start with a big list of values. So again, another worksheet that you have access to in this financial checkup workshop that I offer. But you start with this big list of values as step one. So values could include things like adventure, balance, beauty, challenge, citizenship, community, connection, faith, friendships, growth, happiness, love, loyalty, kindness, pleasure, religion, reputation, responsibility, security, that's a big one, self-respect, peace, service, stability, success, status, trustworthiness, wealth, wisdom. So these are, a selection of the big list here, and there may be other values that you have that aren't on this list. But then the next step is you want to write down the ones that resonate with you the most. So you're going to take that big list and select ones or come up with ones that you've thought about previously that resonate with you. So these are not mine, but on this example are adventure, autonomy, challenge, community, competency, connection, curiosity, friendships, growth, learning, love, optimism, meaningful work, service, wealth, and wisdom. Great list, great starting point. There's 4 times 4, 16. There's 16 values here. Maybe you want to hone it down even more, which is step 3. So in step 3, out of those, you're going to pick the 5 most important ones to you. Okay. So in this example, out of that list of 16, we narrowed it down to 5: connection, growth, learning, love, wisdom. Okay. Just the other day, as an example, I was meeting with someone and he shared his 4 F's of life. Let me see if I can remember them. Fun, freedom, flexibility. Fun, freedom, flexibility. Oh man, I'm forgetting the 4th one, and I don't have my iPad with me. Fun, freedom, flexibility. Yeah, there's a 4th one. I can't remember it. Brain cramp. Anyone my age or older can relate to the brain cramp. I'm going to write it down if I can find a pen around here. I've been using my iPad, so I'm getting pens are just going off into the ether. But anyway, it wasn't financial. Fun, freedom, flexibility. Yeah, I don't remember the 4th one, but if it comes to me before the end of the broadcast, I'll share that with you. But the point is that he does everything in his life in alignment with those 4 things. And I love that. And if it's those F words that are meaningful to you, then, put them up on your refrigerator or on the bulletin board or the whiteboard or on your phone or, the screensaver on your computer. And focus everything you do around those values. And if what you're doing in life, money or otherwise, isn't in support of those values, then maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe you don't do it. So it's also a way to not only be more, financially confident and stable and knowledgeable, right? But it also gives you focus in your life. So I know as I'm getting older, I really want to focus. I don't want to waste time on stuff that doesn't align with my values and my priorities and the things that I want to do. And then if I can align my money resources and the need to make more money because I want to travel or whatever it is I want to do, then I know that I can focus on that because that's one of my values. I want to spend more time with my family, which means maybe I need to work a little less so that I have more time with my family. So I think you get the point. So after you've picked your 5 most important, in this case, connection, growth, learning, love, and wisdom, you're going to rank them in the order of importance. So in this case, love was number 1, 2 was growth, 3 was connection, 4 is learning, and 5 is wisdom. Okay, so that's step 4, to rank them in order of importance to you. And I think another part of this exercise is so often we women have kind of put other people before us, right? Before ourselves. Children, parents, spouse, partner, whatever it is, even pet, right? This exercise is about what you want, what your values are. You could also have your spouse or your partner do this exercise, and then you can compare, right? You don't have to have exactly the same values. It's good to have similar ones, but you might have some different ones. And then you kind of have this financial date and you review your values, especially if you're going through this transition of retirement or trying to figure out when you want to retire. I was watching a movie and I cannot remember the name of it, but the woman was not planning to retire. And she wanted to go off and do like a nonprofit. She wanted to build a nonprofit. And the husband couldn't wait to get out of his manufacturing job. He was tired. He was done. He just wanted to retire and do nothing, right? He's like, I want to relax. Well, in one scene of the movie, he says, she said something like, oh, we should move. And, I want to start building this nonprofit. And he was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, I'm planning to retire in a year and do nothing. I don't want to move. I don't want you to work. I don't want you to build a nonprofit. We've worked hard. I just want to be done. And she was like, done? I'm just getting started. So clearly they had not talked about this phase of retirement. They hadn't talked about their future, and their values were very different. Now, in the movie, she ends up getting started, and he ends up retiring and, maybe to watch his sports or golf or whatever it is he was going to do. And they were separate. They were going their own directions. And maybe that's why gray divorce over the age of 50 is 3 times the rate of other divorce in the country, because this is a major transition and people's values and their priorities aren't aligning. And so they're saying, okay, so we had all this in common before where we were both working and we were raising the kids and we were doing this together. And now there's this new chapter where they can do anything they want in theory, and their wants are very different. And so they go in different directions. That is often what happens. But if you can have these discussions and talk about your values and your visions, then maybe you can stay together, but still have independent lives. I've seen that work too, where the woman is able to go off, or the man is able to go off and to continue to work while the wife or the spouse pursues that, the garden or, some traveling with girlfriends, whatever it might be. Very important if you have a spouse to have this values conversation. So step 5, after you've ranked your values in order, is you want to answer this question. And the question is, how do you want these values to be reflected in your financial decision making? So again, how do you want these values to be reflected in your financial decision making? So how are these going to influence the financial decisions you make? And then out of that may come some, oh, I don't know enough about that particular thing, or how do I do this? How do I make my money last throughout retirement? How do I put more money in my pocket? How do I protect my wealth? What are some strategies? So you either have to really dig in and learn and do it yourself, or you learn enough to make some informed or more informed decisions and have some more informed conversations, or you hire someone who can help you figure this all out, right? But so important, if you hire someone to help you figure this all out and you don't want to just be a blind follower, just fully turning everything over to him or her, you probably want to educate yourself enough to know what they're talking about, and they should share in that educational process with you. So any advisor, I believe, should educate you along the way. It's kind of like if you have kids, and when they were kids, when they're little, you'd say something and they'd say, why, mommy, why? And if you just said, well, because I said so, you missed a learning opportunity. You missed an opportunity to teach your child something. I know in the craziness of life, I admit sometimes I just said, because I don't have time to explain it to you right now. But an advisor is there to answer your why, and you should always ask why. And if he or she isn't, probably not the best advisor for you, in my humble opinion, unless, of course, you just want to follow that person's advice with blind faith. My idea is that they guide and you decide. But he or she should also be talking to you about your values, right? They should be doing your financial plan or your retirement plan in line with your values. So if you don't have someone doing that, they're just kind of investing your money and calling it a day, you've got money in Fidelity or Vanguard or whatever, they're just there to make money off of your investments. They really haven't built in fee structures that allow them to truly be financial advocates for you. Find someone who can be a financial advocate for you, a coach, a mentor, whatever you want to call it. There's personal financial coaches who help you with this. They have nothing to do with investing or selling you insurance. They're there to be your personal coach, just like a fitness coach, to keep you on track, keep you accountable, to protect you from yourself, right? So how do you want these values to be reflected in your decision making? So you're going to next craft your statement of financial purpose. So the whole exercise that we're talking about here is crafting your statement of financial purpose. I don't want you to underestimate the importance of doing an exercise like this. So step 6, you're going to answer this statement. You're going to create this statement. The purpose of money in my life is blank. 3 ways I will bring this purpose to life are, okay? So your statement of financial purpose is the purpose of my money in my life is blank. 3 ways I will bring this purpose to life are. All right, so let me give you a quick example. The purpose of money in my life is to maximize connection and quality time with the people I love, to create opportunities for continuous learning and personal growth. So if you remember, in step 4, we ranked your values in order of priority: love, growth, connection, learning, and wisdom. So this statement of purpose supports those values. The purpose of my money in my life is to maximize connection and quality time with the people I love, to create opportunities for continuous learning and personal growth. Now, the 3 ways I will bring this purpose to life are, plan a family trip to Japan. It's a great place to connect and learn and discover a culture completely different than our own. 2, invest in getting a master's degree. And 3, attend a meditation retreat. All right. So again, crafting your statement of financial purpose comes down to creating that purpose. The purpose of my money in my life is blank, to maximize connection and quality time with the people I love, to create opportunities for continuous learning and personal growth. And the 3 ways I'm going to bring this purpose to life, in this case, plan a family trip to Japan. It could be plan a family trip to Cape Cod. It doesn't have to be across the globe. Invest in getting a master's degree. Could be an associate's degree, bachelor's degree. It could be HVAC certification, computer certification, sewing certification, whatever it is that you want to do. And 3, attend a meditation retreat. Now, these aren't all of your life goals, right? These are the 3 things that you want to do near term, near to midterm, to support that purpose, financial purpose, your statement of financial purpose. You can go on as a next step and write out all the other ways, the other things you want to do in your life and in retirement, in this case, to support those values: love, growth, connection, learning, and wisdom. Now, let's say you do this in 2024. Your body, your brain, your cells, they're constantly changing. So it's very important to revisit and recraft your statement of financial purpose, because over time it can change, right? One of my values was supporting my children's educational endeavors. That was important to me because my parents weren't able to do that for me. So for me, it was very important. So one of my values was education for myself and my children. Now, once they are done soon, at least the part that I've committed to helping them with, once that's done, that's going to leave a new purpose, a new financial purpose. So I will revisit this and say, okay, what is my new financial purpose? So it's very important that it's not a one-time exercise, because you change, life changes, circumstances change. I give these statistics frequently, but the average age of widowhood is 59 years old. Talk about a change. Gray divorce, 3 times the rate of other divorce rates. It can happen. Statement of financial purpose changes. God forbid you get some kind of health diagnosis. Financial purpose changes. You become a grandparent. Purpose changes. So when you craft this, it's good to do it, live it, make it happen, but then be prepared for change, because change is inevitable. Okay, so if you are just tuning in, I just went over a couple exercises that I offer in my financial checkup workshop that is available on the herretirement.com website. And it's about an hour long. It includes a workbook with lots of different exercises to help you check up on your financial situation. And I encourage people to do that as frequently as they feel comfortable. I mean, I think doing it maybe even once a month is probably too much. That's where you become hyper-focused on your money. And I don't think that's healthy either. But maybe once a quarter, twice a year, and at least once a year for sure. So you can go check out that workshop, because what's going to happen is when you take that workshop, you're going to identify some areas where you're not as financially knowledgeable as you like to be, or as you need to be, based on what the outcome of that is. Now, I do want to share some statistics, because it is, I'm kicking off Financial Literacy Month. So I found this website with some statistics. It was actually on a website called Millennial Money. basically financial literacy is something everyone needs. Many of the decisions we make strongly depend on our understanding of money. And with lack of understanding, we miss opportunities for sure. But of course, in the United States, at least, financial literacy is severely lacking, and retirement literacy is woefully inadequate. People just don't understand all the ins and outs of retirement, but that's okay. One, because they've never retired before, and two, because the landscape is constantly changing. The economics, political environment is changing. Longevity for people is changing. So there's lots of things that are changing, and we need to acknowledge those and understand those changes, and then put a plan together that deals with those changes. Lots of people enter adulthood without a firm financial background. Whether you're paying bills, applying for credit card, investing, taking money out of the ATM machine, you're constantly exposed to money and money decisions on a daily basis. It's money is life, basically. And I remember my mom going to the bank as a kid and taking money out, and I was like, wow, this is like the money house. Like, you just go there and they give my mom money. Like, that is so cool. Well, then, a few years later, I remember she got divorced, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table with her, helping her figure out paying bills. And I was like 8 or 9. And she exposed me to all that. In one sense, it was good because I learned a lot. But in another sense, it exposed me to a little bit of a scarcity mindset. Like, oh my gosh, like, are we going to have enough money? Like, it gave me some anxiety because here she was, a single mom, supporting 4 kids and trying to figure this all out. On the other hand, she made it fun, and we would see how cheaply we could go on vacation and go camping and save money. And so, yeah, I guess I grew up very money conscious and a little bit of a scarcity mindset. One of the good points about financial literacy and what's happening is 23 states in the United States currently have laws or regulations requiring high school students to take at least a semester-long personal financial course, either currently or by 2028, which is a huge step in the right direction. Actually, I would love to go teach those personal financial courses, so I should probably look into that a little bit more, but love that. And I'm going to do a blog post following this live on financial literacy, some of the statistics, and I will share the link to this study and a link to those 23 states. Here in Massachusetts, I had contacted a local representative from my hometown a few years back about putting regulation in place like this for the state of Massachusetts. So I'll be anxious to follow up on that and make sure that legislation has passed here in the United States. But here are some top financial literacy statistics to consider. The 2023 National Report Card on State Efforts to Improve Financial Literacy gave only 7 states an A. This means schools in these states must provide a standalone personal financial course versus combining the education into other course materials. So like if you took an economics course and there was just like a little bit on personal finance, that state wouldn't get an A. And according to the TIAA Institute GFLEC Personal Finance Index, adults answered only 48% of 23 questions on financial literacy in 2023. This was a decrease of 2%. So in 2017, 50% answered the 23 questions correctly. And again, I will put those 23 questions into my article. And I also have, it's not really a financial literacy quiz. I call it a retirement readiness quiz. and it goes through 25 different questions. You can find it on the herretirement.com website or the Retirement Solved IO website. It's 25 questions that help you figure out if you're ready for retirement. So the purpose of that is to help you identify those areas where, one, you didn't know you needed to be ready in that specific area. Also identify some strategies, retirement planning strategies that you weren't familiar with, but it also helps you prioritize those areas where you don't feel ready, either because you just don't understand it, or you just don't have that as part of your plan, or you don't even have a plan. So it's great because then you can take that list and you can go learn, you can go explore more about your personal financial situation, and you can go have a conversation with a retirement advisor or a financial person and say, hey, these are my top areas of concern for retirement, my gaps. How are you going to help me address them? So, and if they can't, well, you need to go find someone else. This is an interesting stat. The average person loses $1,819 annually due to lacking personal financial knowledge. So the average person loses close to $2,000 due to lacking personal financial knowledge. I have a statistic in my masterclass where I say that 74% of people give up retirement income benefits because they don't know all the facts. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a retirement expert, retirement planning expert, but just by spending a little bit of time to educate yourself, you are going to have more retirement income. It's proven when you know more, you can have more. So don't be one of those 74%. It's one of the stats that, it prompted me to create my two platforms to help people know more, have more, and live more now and in retirement. And only 8% of Americans say their financial situation today is excellent, compared to 12% in 2021, and 39% say it's fair. 54% of teens worry about financing their future. 62% use personal financial apps to manage their money, so that's good. I think the whole technology and app world has changed things for the better. And here's a stressful statistic. 60%, nearly 6 in 10 Americans report living paycheck to paycheck. So, whether that's an income problem, a spending problem, a knowledge problem, I think it's probably a mix. I have an expert in the industry who gives a presentation that says, over our lifetimes, we earn a boatload of money if you compile it all, compound it all. But the issue is how much we spend. For a lot of people, it's not just limited to how much we make, it's how much we spend. So the goal is pretty simple: make more, spend less, invest more, prepare more, get educated. Sounds easy, right? It's like losing weight and being healthy. Eat less, exercise more. Easier said than done because of this, because of our behavior. If we could just figure out how to lock in our behaviors, we could be happier, healthier, and wealthier. So what we have to do is we have to trick our mind. We have to play some mind games. We have to have some accountability partners. I have a journal called Happier, Healthier, Wealthier. Use a journal to keep track of your mental health, your physical health, your financial health. My journal can help you do that. Getting educated, obviously, is what we've been talking about today. Couple others I want to share before I close out today's live Lunch and Learn. Women are 10% less likely to answer financial questions correctly than men. So in that same TIAA study, 43% of women answered questions correctly versus 53% of men. 60% of women and 53% of 60% of women and 53% of men worry about their financial future. So with low levels of financial literacy, higher, inflation has settled down, but inflation, depleted savings accounts, lots of people are worried about their financial future. So again, they're worried, they're fearful. It's not good to carry around all this stress. There's things we can do about it. You just have to make a commitment and get educated, advocate for yourself. One of the people I follow on TikTok, she helps younger women advocate for themselves in the workplace, how to ask for a raise, how to know when it's time to leave your employee and go find a better paying job. I remember back in the day, I knew I was underpaid, but I was scared to death to go ask for an increase because I thought they're just going to let me go. They're going to fire me because they don't want a complainer. They don't want someone, complaining and asking for more money. So I could have used those resources back in the day. And for me, it was changing companies, changing jobs, that helped me, keep up at least. Gen Z is more likely to ask family members for financial advice than financial advisors. So if you've got Gen Z kids, which I do, make sure you are helping them, all right? Whether it's giving them a book. There's a great book called Broke Millennial that is a great book to give to younger kids. Let's see, what else? 81% of households are fully banked. 19% of households use non-bank forms of payment, such as money orders, rent-to-own services, and pawn shops. So that's an interesting statistic. 58% of Americans don't have an emergency fund. So yeah, that's an issue. So I always say one of the first things that you need to work toward is getting 3 to 6 months of emergency funds in the bank. So that's a really good, important goal. 87% of Americans are worried about the cost of housing. Yes, housing costs have skyrocketed. Rents, buying a house, obviously mortgage interest rates are really high. This worry can be passed down to children and grandchildren. We worry that future generations won't be able to purchase a home. Let's see. Financial fraud, that's an issue. 15% of households claim at least one family member was a victim of financial fraud. So it's really, really important, especially if you have older people in your life. I was always talking to my mom about financial scams. And, I had $10,000 taken out of my checking account via a PayPal scam. And, it was nothing I did. It was nothing I gave permission for. It just happened to me. But the people that, are victims of scams, older generation, are targeted for scams. So it's really, really important to educate those older people in your life to be smart and, give them some guidance on scams. 66% of Americans worry they won't have enough money for retirement. And so I know it's painful sometimes, and people are afraid to see what they have, what they need, and what their gaps are. But only then will you truly be able to address those gaps. You can make some decisions. You identify your values, and you identify what you have for money to support those values, and you design your life on purpose versus by the seat of your pants. Because when you design on purpose and you identify your gaps, when you know more, you can have more. I totally 100% agree with that. Now, there's things we can't control, right? We can't control inflation. We can't control when a pandemic happens. We can't control the political environment, but we can learn some strategies how to insulate or mitigate those risks to our personal financial situation and our lifestyle. A lot of Americans stopped putting money into their retirement plans, and they've withdrawn money to cover the higher costs of living, which is unfortunate because when you take money out of those compounding accounts, right, you're not only getting penalties in some cases and you're paying taxes, you're lowering the balance in that account for it to grow for the future. America has 1.08 trillion in credit card debt. We are a spending society. We want it now. We don't want to wait. And credit card companies have really taken advantage of people and said, yeah, you can have it now. You can have this credit. I was approved for a crazy amount of mortgage the first time I bought a house. Like they told me I could buy a house twice the amount that I was purchasing my house for. I was like, wow, these people want me to go into debt up to my eyeballs. Like they don't care about you. They care about the money they're going to make off of you. And so if we can retrain again that brain to be smart spenders, smarter savers, and smarter investors, then we can improve our personal financial situation. Okay. That credit card debt carries a massive amount of interest. So you're paying a ton of interest to the bank, right? Instead of having that money for yourself. You know, it's so important to teach yourself and kids and teens about money. I actually have 2 short guides, one for young children like elementary school, and then I have a teen girls guide to personal finance. And you can get both of those on my website. So if you are the head of a group of girls, an organization, or your own children, your grandchildren, go check out those 2 guides. They're free. And get a young girl educated, as it is in the case of her retirement. That's what we focus on. As it stands today, many states have a long way to go to help personal finance, but we as parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, sisters, brothers, we can do our part to educate kids. So perhaps instead of buying them a whole bunch of plastic toys, get them some savings bonds or, invest some money on their behalf. Talk to kids about Roth IRAs. That's a great way to start. Doing all this could help consumers be more informed and make more informed decisions. So only time will tell if our financial literacy improves, but with things like April month of financial literacy and social media and lots of young social media influencers talking about money and having louder voices for women to help us address those financial challenges that we face, the challenges that men don't face typically, which I can't go into today. I could do that on another live, but women have some extra challenges and hurdles to overcome. And so we need to think about those. We need to address those in our plans. So finally, I want to share with you a couple more resources. When you take my free masterclass, you get a 20-page retirement roadmap masterclass workbook. So it follows along with the presentation. So as you're watching the masterclass, you fill in all the blanks in this workbook, and then you have a book to read and to use to improve your retirement literacy. I also have a retirement readiness platform, and one of the modules in that platform is called Learn. So when you subscribe to that platform, it's super affordable. It's a monthly subscription. When you subscribe to my retirement readiness platform, you have a whole Learn module. There's currently 17 e-classes on all kinds of different topics. I'm going to continue to add to those, and you'll have access to those. So it's all about financial literacy. The other module in there is called Assess, where you take a complete financial inventory of everything you have. The software is going to analyze that inventory, and it's going to come back and identify your gaps, your risks, and your opportunities. And then it's going to present you with a personalized ebook. So this isn't like a book that you would buy off the shelf about retirement planning. This is a book that's personalized to your financial situation, and it's going to say, here's your gaps, here's your risks, here's your opportunities, and I'm going to explain to you in this 40 or 50 page PDF what each of these things mean, what they mean to you, and how you can improve your situation. So you are knowing more, having more, and then ultimately the idea is to live more now and in retirement. So if you want that personalized ebook to improve your financial literacy and your financial situation, you got to go check out my retirement readiness platform. You can check it out at herretirement.com. That's the version of the platform geared for women. And then there's also the other version, which is for anybody, at retirementsolved.io. So in that platform, when you subscribe to it, you can get access to that personalized book. Now, for a higher level subscription, you can also get access to my 9-module retirement planning e-class, okay? It's the only one of its kind that I know of, and the one for women is definitely the only one I've seen, and I've taken the time to create it. I've spent hours and hours and hours and over a decade teaching people about retirement planning in that master course, okay? So you can go check that out at herretirement.com. On the retirementsolved.io website, you can also access a masterclass. It's called Retirement Power Hours. It's on demand. You can watch it at your convenience on your terms. Last thing I want to cover before I wrap up for this week is books, right? You can read books. I just talked about the personalized book that you can get through my platform, but I want to highlight a few books from female authors. One is this woman named Alexa von Tobel. She wrote this book, Financially Fearless. It's a little older, but it's still quite relevant. She created a platform called LearnVest, and this one is from 2013, but that's a good book. There's also one from Jean Chatzky, Women with Money. It's a judgment-free guide to creating the joyful, less stressed, purposeful, and yes, rich life you deserve. She also has a Facebook group called Her Money, which is pretty generic. It's, a wide range of money topics for women of all ages. So I've got a lot of pages that are bent over and marked for note-taking and so forth, but Women with Money. And then this is a book by Rebecca Walzer. It's called Wealth Unbroken. So Rebecca believes in kind of a safety-first approach to your money. And so she is big on annuities and insurance to lock down your non-discretionary expenses and to use insurance as a way to do that. So really good perspective on guaranteed income sources and using things like life insurance for income sources. And then finally, my book, Retirement Solved, I guess. Not all of them have. I don't have my picture on the cover, but I am working on her retirement book, so maybe that one I'll put my picture on the cover. But anyway, this one is Retirement Solved, and this is You've Got Questions, We've Got Answers. So this book is actually a really nice complement to whichever masterclass that I've got for you. After you take the masterclass, this is a great book to have. When you take the masterclass, you actually get access to an electronic version of this book. But and in the Learn module of the software, you're going to see the contents of this book. But if you don't access the masterclass or you don't access my platform, you can go purchase this book. It's 90 questions, 186 pages, 15 different categories. So you can go in. These are the questions that I've heard over the past decade teaching people about retirement. These are the top questions that I've gotten, and the answers aren't. There's unbiased and based on research and top academics in the retirement planning space. The categories are retirement planning, retirement risk, debt, income planning, Social Security, home equity, savings and investments, 401ks, IRAs, tax planning, insurance, healthcare, long-term care, college funding, estate planning, and getting help. So each of those 15 sections are here in the book, with several questions within each of those categories and the research-backed answers. So you can get this book on either the Her Retirement website or at retirementsolved.io. It's like $10, and it will be probably one of the best $10 you can spend. I mean, you could spend $10 almost on like a giant latte from Starbucks. And what are you going to get from that? You're going to get like a buzz, right? This, you're going to get financial literacy, and you're going to know more and have more. And hopefully, if you follow through on that education and get a plan for your retirement, you're going to live more too. So here's to being more financially literate. Here's to knowing more, having more, and living more. So if you want to get her done, okay, if you want to get her done, go check out all the resources that I offer on herretirement.com. Follow me, subscribe to my channel, come to my lunch and learns every week. And yeah, let's do this. All right.